Now we're really zeroing in on the origins of this pandemic and this bad behavior in terms of while the Chinese government, the Communist Party, was downplaying this, Mr. Secretary, they were actually cornering the market in terms of the protective gear that the U.S. would no doubt need a month later. Is there something even more sinister than just bad behavior and bad actors in the Chinese Communist government?
What this administration has consistently done with respect to the Chinese Communist Party is demand they behave in a way that's consistent with international norms. You and I have talked about this. General Secretary Xi told us he wouldn't arm the South China Sea. He did so. They made commitments in Hong Kong, promises there. We demand that they live up to those promises. And now, in this moment, this authoritarian regime had information, had data. It's very clear now that the Chinese Communist Party and the World Health Organization didn't put that information out into the international space as they're required to do in a timely fashion. And the result of that is that we now have this global pandemic. We're still suffering that today. We are still asking the Chinese Communist Party to allow experts to get into that virology lab so that we can determine precisely where this virus began. It's political. This is about science and epidemiology. We need to understand what has taken place.
I know we've been saying that perhaps the virus got out of that virology lab by accident, but the fact that they have been downplaying it and lying for so long since the beginning of this, then it raises the question of, was it really an accident?
It is completely appropriate that the world ask the right questions. The Chinese Communist Party needs to come clean about what took place there so the whole world can see what took place. When we do that, there'll be a time for accountability. We'll be able to attribute what happened, who did what. Clearly, we need to investigate whether that took place here, whether they had the capability to handle the kinds of viruses that were being studied or worked on in that laboratory. We don't know those answers. The Chinese Communist Party needs to open up and let us get those answers.